Hi everyone. I wanted to give you an update as to what's been going on. As you know, I moved, and upon moving, a lot has happened. And as I was just even moving my things and relocating to hotels until I found a permanent place, I was applying to different places, and you have to understand the situation that I'm in. Um, my landlord never gave me a chance. They were helping these criminals from Scientology stalk me way before the pandemic, um, a year before the pandemic. So, with the stalking, jumping on my car, stalking me to my job, assaulting me in restaurants, assaulting me as I'm walking to work, trying to, have this certain individuals meet up with me on my route because they keep track of you inside of your apartment building, inside your apartment, and as you leave your building. So, anyways, sometimes they would try to run me off the road, and the cops are involved with harassing me. It's mind-boggling to me. I can't even believe it. I really can't. Um, you know, so I rented a car because I figured going out of state would be, the best situation, because the amount of people they had watching me 24 hours a day, and then getting rooms next to mine, hotel rooms next to mine. And when I would try to tell the people at the front desk what was going on, um, these stalkers would sit outside the office. If I went into the office, some of them would come into the office. If I was going out to my car, they would go out to their car. I mean, this organized stalking is is so nauseating. And it didn't matter if I left that hotel, came back, you still got the same problem with the same people. And when you start taking their photos, um, they get replaced. Um, or they try to have the front desk, convince you that these are just conspiracy theories. And it's just, it was just, I had no privacy. I couldn't even go get peace of mind, because if I went out to go get food, they have these people sitting out in the areas where they know you're going to most likely go to go get food or go grocery shopping. So, and then, when you apply for apartments, they end up knowing what you're doing because they hack into your phone, your car's GPS, and they try to sabotage all your efforts and everything that you do. So, I rented a car, and they ended up getting access to my rental car. They bugged my rental car and GPSed it because I was going through the same crap across state and county lines. And my rental car guy admitted that, yeah, he knew um, it was Scientology fair game, and he was aware that they GPS my rental car. And as we know, cars are automatically GPSed because they belong to the rental car company. But you still got these Scientology assholes and the cops cooperating with them and doing this to you. So they have full access to everywhere you're at, wherever you're at. Um, and it's sorry. Um, my cats. But anyways, so now, so I haven't been able to go into detail and talk about everything. But what I will say now is the same thing's going on here that was going on in California, and the police are helping them. If I walk outside to my apartment building to go to the store, um, the cops come. They start coming up down the street. I start getting stalked by people in the community. Um, and I talked to this guy that lives here in the building, and he's kind of like sick of it, and he doesn't feel comfortable living here anymore. And this didn't start happening till I moved in. Scientology has weaponized the community watch, the neighborhood watch here in Iowa. They weaponized it against me. Um, if I go to it's just like, at my job, these assholes will park along your route. They'll stalk you along your route. The cops are the first one to pass by. So, when I walk out to the front of my building to leave, the cops are right there to pass by to kind of identify what you're wearing and tell everybody. And then as you're going along your way, you got these assholes parked. And they started coming onto the property where I work. And these idiots, shit for brains, started like soliciting and waiting for me when I come and go outside where I live all the way to my work. And the people at my work are getting pissed because these idiot stalkers from that have been weaponized against me with the police station, and thanks to Scientology, even though there's not a Scientology location here. And the thing about Scientology, they're not going to walk up to you and say, oh, we're Scientologists and we're waging fair game against this chick. They're just going to try to blend in with the system and manipulate the system, weaponize the system against their target, whoever they deem suppressive and that they defame. Whether they call you a terrorist, suppressive, a prostitute, you're a drug user, drug dealer, whatever it is they want to say. Like in Los Angeles, how they were having people come up to me, say you're high. I would go jogging, and they had like these people like pretending they're shooting up all along the road where I'm running, and like when I come home, and they had these people parked across the street doing it in front of my window. Well, what they started doing here at my complex is they like faked a drug deal right in front of my window. Then they have like these guys sitting outside in their truck pretending like they're on their phone, and they don't even live here. So they're like trying to do this theater, and the police are all involved. But as far as my work is concerned, they're kind of pissed off because these stupid asses, these stalkers, and the police that aid and support these criminal stalkers, they're like parking illegally where I work. And what I mean by that is there's certain areas where I work, cars aren't supposed to park. Cars aren't allowed. It's only for diesel trucks. So these stupid asses as I'm coming to work, they're already lined up along the street. They did the same thing in Los Angeles. And they ended up making themselves look stupid because, they're on camera over there. The owners, the bosses are aware of what's going on. People at my work are now scared. Some of them are scared of me because they don't understand why this is happening. And this is, I noticed that they're having people in my company who I actually I'm like above. I'm not too much above them, but I kind of supervise their work. And they're having random people I never talked to come up to me and ask me that I've never seen when I'm going to work next or whatever. And the fact is that these stalkers will approach people they don't know and try to get information from me. It's very tricky how it works because they would do this to me at my other jobs too, but in Los Angeles. So, anyways, they started my supervisors started having tow trucks sit in the parking lot because they were these stalkers would just think that they can just come to your job and wait for you and stalk you, and they're allowed to do it in Los Angeles. Um, at all my jobs, they could sit right there on the street as I walk out. They would come into my job and try to say stuff about me to my supervisors to get me fired, and it worked at a lot of them. Stuff that wasn't true. I've never met these people. I don't know these people, but this is what fair game is about, and they can say and do anything to you, and that's just the way these people operate. Come on, let's go. So, anyways, I called the chief of police. I tried to explain to him what was going on, because I suspect they've been parking trailers by my window. Because I've seen these same trailers parked down the street at the police department in the parking lot, in their parking lot. So they've like parked these like trailers outside my window. I guess for surveillance or something, but that's what Scientology does. They'll manipulate any government of a department of government, local, state, whatever. Um, so they can weaponize it against their target to fulfill their fair game psychotic agenda. Because at the end of the day, their whole agenda is to destroy you, even if it means murdering you. So, Chief Staples told me he was going to put a stop to it and a stop to the police harassing me, and he lied. I could walk out my door right now. I can have my phone in my hand, and cops will just start coming by. Oh, by the way, there's a security system here that has access to all like the hallways, and I'll give you the name of that security company. Um, the neighborhood watch and that security company and the police are all one, and the police run the neighborhood watch, and the police have, thanks to Scientology weaponizing my community against me. Now the police are having people in my building walk out the door when I walk out the door. And people don't understand how organized stalking works. And they're doing the same thing they did to me in Los Angeles. Chief Staples said he was going to put a stop to it. I've been, you have to understand too. My car, you guys saw the windows broke, busted in and everything, and them keying my car and kicking in the front end of my car, and part of that was kind of already like broken, had some damage when I bought it, but they would do everything they can to kick, to make it worse, and just, uh and they had GPSed it. And when I moved out of my apartment and was kind of staying near Calabasas, I was staying in hotels trying to apply for apartments, trying to figure out what I was going to do, because the minute I walk out of my house, you got these monsters on your ass. And and the police are helping them convince the staff at the hotel that you're a very bad person, and they need to keep an eye on you. So they put these stalkers in rooms above you and on the side of you, and it's just never ending torture, stalking. And some of them will come and stand right next to your car as you're loading stuff in your car or loading stuff out of your car. It was just completely making me physically ill. they would have these people, drive on the side of me, trying to surveillance me. So anyways, it gets worse because I moved into this apartment and I noticed it's the same shit going on. My apartment is surveillanced. I brought it up to my manager and I asked him, on what legal grounds? And where's this warrant or subpoena, whatever you want to call it? And when I started asking him the questions that matter, and he, because he said, okay, so I don't know if I should make this another video, but so I was getting stalked. I went into town and I had to buy certain things for work and groceries and stuff for my lunch. And I don't have my car no more because I had to junk it because it was GPS, and the stalking, like I would have just shitloads of people on my ass. And they try to like box you in between their cars. And then when they try to mess with you, they're all surrounding you. So if they do something to you and they're surrounding you, there's no witnesses because they get to attack you, and there's no like outsiders that can say, oh my God, I saw this happen. And that's what they do when they physically assault you too, like when they physically assaulted me and I was disabled. So, and again, when you go and you want to report these things to the police won't take the report. They'll try to make excuses for the stalker's behavior. They'll try to dismiss it. And I noticed, since I'm on foot and I don't have a car and I have to go to the grocery store on foot over here, it's like maybe almost 3/4 of a mile. I get stalked up and down the road, in and out of stores. And again, Chief Staples said he was going to put a stop to it because he's aware of what's going on. He knows about Scientology, fair game. I don't know if his hands are tied and he was just lying to me, but I had about 10 grocery bags in my hand, like for real. And this woman was like in her van. She had been stalking me. And I went into a store. I came out and she was sitting in the back of the building, parked illegally. She was parking against traffic in the back of the building. And there's like a bank right there, and you can like go up to the teller, drive up teller and stuff. And so, it's infuriating because they got these losers. There's these shitheads stalking you, and these people really power trip over it. And your character is assassinated and defamed up and down. So you got the whole town who's into this stuff on you, watching you. And again, when you leave the house, you got cops right there passing by as you walk off the property. The gang stalking starts. So I took a photo of this woman and I continued walking. I, could barely walk. It was a struggle holding these 10 bags of groceries because I like went shopping for real. I bought cans, I bought milk, I bought orange juice, I bought, eggs, I bought everything you think you can try to carry, cheese, everything. And I like literally had been walking for like almost 5 minutes. I turn around and that bitch is right there. And she's just driving behind me. And I was like, stop stalking me. Stop being a stalker. And as soon as I said that, she pulled back her phone because the word they don't like being called, they don't like the truth to come out that they're stalking people they don't know, or harassing people they don't know. So then she called me crazy and she threatened to put me on like this Facebook page for Iowa. And I'm like, go right ahead. Go right ahead. I just envisioned myself serving this bitch papers for stalking, harassment, and defamation. But when I said stalking, she almost lost her phone out of her hand because these stalkers, these criminals that are partnered with Neighborhood Watch and the police, they don't like to be called out on their shit. They're the criminals projecting criminality on you, whether you're walking to work, whether you're walking to the store. So I came in my house. I had to put my groceries down. I had Pizza Hut also, and the cops were outside. And when I came out, they were gone. So I had to call the police. And I told the police, I want to make a police report, and I know what's going on. And the police made excuses for her. And she goes, and normally she goes, well, I think she was just wary of you just as much as you were wary of her. I go, first of all, I was on foot. She was waiting for me. She was stalking me. I was on foot with 10 bags of groceries coming out of the store, and she's there waiting for me, parked illegally. And I turn around, I'm almost in front of my house, and she's right there stalking me. And when I called her out on being a stalker, that's when she freaked out. She turned off her phone because she was videotaping, like, as she was stalking me. She was like behind me. She immediately called her partner, the cops, and said, I'm not stalking her. That's all she did, and she took off. So when I called the cops, I said, well, I want to make a report on this woman. So the cops talked me out of it. Oh, well, she was just as wary as you. And it's just a bunch of bullshit. And then the cop was like, well, she's not, contact her, tell her not to put you on that Facebook page. And, and I go, listen, you guys are harassing people. You guys are weaponizing community watch against innocent people because you got, this sick organization that is infiltrating, and they're not announcing what their agenda is and who they really are. So anyways, guys, this cop talked me out of making a report. And she goes, oh, by the way, I'm supposed to tell your manager that this happened. And I'm like, this. Then she's like, and I won't do that since you're not going to make a report. And I'm just like thinking, bitch, I'm not 5 years old. If I want to make a report because I'm getting stalked, I did nothing wrong. I'm on the sidewalk walking with 10 bags in my hand, and this bitch is in her blue van stalking me from town. So the cops will completely justify and make excuses for their little stalker community watch bullshit. And it still goes on. It continues the minute I walk outside. So, it's like, Scientology also, their people stay parked in my parking lot that I live in, this building, this complex. So, again, I asked my manager, like, on what grounds do they have to have for surveillance in my apartment, because they surveillanced my ceiling fans, my sinks, I believe my electrical box. People don't understand that it's not like they have a big ass camera pointing from a wall. These are practically microscopic. I can't even talk. But they're so tiny, and you can't see them with the naked eye. You got to use something so you can see the little infrared light, and the infrared light will pick up on this. And these are embedded in things you wouldn't ever think hidden cameras could be hidden in. So these motherfuckers went to town in my apartment. I highly suspect the outlets are DVR. So, like, if there's noise or motion, it starts recording. I know my sinks are bugged. I highly suspect the fire alarm. My stove. And they made like this opening on the side of my door. When I open my door, where the ground meets the door next to the wall, they like sanded the door and they put something there. So every time I open my door, my neighbors will come out. And if I walk out to the front, the neighbors that are part of the neighborhood watch call the police, the police somehow, maybe through the cameras, because the security company is like neck and neck with the police. The police have access to those cameras, and they get the community, to start, stalking me. So, anyways, it's a sick. These, I can't believe Iowa's like this, and they have no idea that they're waging fair game on behalf of Scientology. These people don't even know what the hell they're doing. It's so disgusting. So I just don't understand. I know in some states they're allowed to, I guess, surveillance you inside your home and they don't have to tell you. And I just can't understand that. Like, you have no legal grounds. It could be hearsay, which that's what's going on with me with Scientology. So the police, when they came out, when that girl was stalking me in her van and I had all these bags of groceries in my hand, I was like, where is this coming from? Like, what are you cops doing? Like, where is this stemming from? I go, because I have a pretty good idea how this is all coming about, because I've been going through this before. And she goes, oh, well, that's between your manager and the staff. They requested this. I'm like, they requested this? I'm like, that's so funny, because, I ended up emailing my manager, and my manager said that he was cooperating with the police as if the police had requested this. So I have the police pointing at my manager, and and then I have the manager pointing at the police. And I'm like, on what legal grounds? Based on what? I mean, as Scientology, fair game, they will infiltrate and pervert any organization, any of your friends that you know. They will weaponize everything in your life against you. Everything. Everything. You're not allowed to have an apartment. They got to weaponize that shit. They got to put in the hidden cameras. They got to, they put these things in your bathroom. They're not supposed to be putting that shit in my bathroom. So I think, like, there's like this terrorist act or something. Like, if you're a terrorist, like, I think that they can or something. And this is just, they make up these lies about people so they can continue their fair game. They weaponize and lie, and they exaggerate about a person, assassinate someone's character, so they can use that neighborhood watch, use that police station to carry out their fair game and manipulate communities to turn against the target, so that community will actually help these Scientologists wage their fair game on you. And the community has no idea Scientology even is associated with this. So I just, again, people at my work are worried. One girl she went up to my bosses and, like, we got these men sitting in the parking lot, like, you guys knew about this. And so I'm not allowed to have a car, not allowed to have a job, not allowed to have an apartment. They got to be watching me 24/7. 24/7. Just so they can, because they're obsessed, they're psychopaths, and just to continuously torture me and sabotage any and all efforts for me to live. And Scientology got shut down in Russia. And Congress has to look at the crimes that they wage on people 24/7. And there's people online that want this cult shut down. They want this cult shut down. And you got people saying, well, why should we shut this cult down? They're a religion and they haven't broken any laws. Well, that's a complete BS. The fact is, their laws, their crimes are excused away, are swept under the carpet, are covered up. So, I haven't really been able to get into detail on certain little things that happened as I tried to move, but I had to drive back and forth from Iowa to California twice, and it was just horrible. And when you go through the trouble to move and they GPS your rental car, you move and they won't leave you alone. Um, and people at my work are completely freaked out. So, and it's going to be snowing here. I don't have a car. I just don't have access to a lot of things. And now that this is happening to me here, it's less ferocious than it was in LA. Um, but now that the maintenance man and my manager are involved, and of course they're going to take pleasure in bugging, I and putting cameras in my apartment, so all these fucking assholes can watch. And I highly suspect they're doing this to other people in this building, this complex as well, because again, certain things that people that live here have said to me. When your maintenance people are constantly going in your apartment and they're making excuses and you really don't know what's going on, and they're changing things, they could be changing those cards that, those SD cards or whatever they're called, or batteries, whatever it is, so they can keep surveillancing and watching people. Um, so again, guys, Scientology, these people, if something's not done about this cult, and again, I don't have resources. I'm not allowed to have anything tangible long term, even nice clothing, even computers, even iPhones. I haven't even gotten into what they did with my iPhones and what was going on with my iPhones, and how many laptops I've been through and phones I've been through in the last year. Um, so I have no furniture. I don't have a car. Everything I have, they destroy, they vandalize, they steal, or they bug it. They just destroy all my stuff. They always have to have access to me. And again, they've used my manager, the maintenance people, and the police, and the security company that surveillances these buildings. They've weaponized all of them against me so they can watch me and continue to stalk me and do whatever they feel they need to do to me. Um, so I just want to give you guys that update, and kind of like in a nutshell. Well, not in a nutshell, but just kind of give you a broad explanation as to what I've been going through. Scientology needs to be shut down. All right, guys. Um, I'll try to do a regular video. Um, it's just been so horrible, and Iowa sucks. I've had people come up to me I've never seen before, say some really nasty things as if I was like a terrorist, a bad person. Um, I think one of them, if not both of them, as a result of, what Scientology, how they kind of like abuse abuse you and defame you and assassinate your character. These people are really scared of me. and just said some nasty things to me. So that's that. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next video, and let's shut down Scientology. I know Mike Pompeo mentioned he was going to start looking, or there, people were going to start talking about more about realistically what's going on with Scientology since they got shut down in Russia. And I heavily want to be a part of this. I wanted to file a claim with the Attorney General, if not the city attorney, whichever was most appropriate, in a lawsuit against Scientology. And there were so many things they had done to me, and then I had no hot water for 3 years. Then I had my manager get involved, and the maintenance guys get involved, and then I got businesses across the street where I'm being attacked, and they're not cooperating with me with the video evidence, and the police don't want to investigate, and they want to just sweep everything under the rug. And it's one assault, this assault, jumping on my car, this, it's just like they even convinced my brother, when my brother sold me a car, not to give me the title. That's a whole other story, but so they jumped on that car, and the people from Scientology jumped on my car. They were stalking me that day, and they towed it away because the woman lied and said I hit her, but I already made a video about that. So let's shut down Scientology, guys. They're not a religion. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. I'm sorry if this video was boring, but I just got to give you guys an update because, again, these people destroy my car. They destroy my ability just to have a normal life and thrive, and I'm just really sick of it. And I live right down from the street from the police station, and they're heavily involved in this harassment. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Be good to each other.